This past week saw the rise of the viral sensation Miriam and Zovin, whose daily TikTok videos recapping passages of the Talmud in contemporary language generate tens of thousands of views, international headlines, and also furious debate. Some see her provocative, irreverent style as wholly inappropriate for addressing the Talmud, the central text of Rabbinic Judaism, and they argue that she's doing far more harm than good by denigrating and debasing a sacred, solemn tradition. Others note her growing audience and maintain that she's actually building a digital entry ramp for Gen Z to engage seriously with the Talmud, but in their own language and on their own terms. This controversy reminds me of the beginning of this Shabbat's Torah portion, Parashat Terumah, which describes the Aron HaBrit, the Ark of the Covenant, which would sit in the inner sanctum of the tabernacle, housing the tablets containing the Ten Commandments. This ark was made primarily of wood, but it would be fully plated with gold, both inside and outside, to the point where it was, in actuality, 3 nested boxes. The rabbis of the Midrash explained that the lesson of the ark, that the symbolism, is that our own outer presentation should mirror our inner values. In Talmudic parlance, we should be like the ark, tocho kiboro, whose interior was like its exterior. But then why not just create an ark of solid gold? Why bother with the wood at all? The layer of wood between the 2 layers of gold might well represent the distinctive cultural values, the communication norms, the sense of humor and personality that we each bring to Jewish values and to Jewish learning. The wood represents the reality that there is no such thing as a pure encounter with Jewish tradition, Jewish learning, or Jewish scholarship, or for that matter with any other discipline. Our experience is always mediated by that layer of wood, that is, by the unique perspective with which we perceive the world and through which we express ourselves within it. In other words, a Talmudic passage, a Hebrew prayer, a performance of a mitzvah might mean something very different to us, may carry very different significance to us than it did to others who experienced the same thing in a different time and a different place. As we internalize what any of these things mean to us, we're absorbing them through the filter of our own lived experiences. And at the same time, when we express ourselves, our own values, thoughts, feelings, and insights, we use the language that comes most naturally and authentically to us, even if that language is sometimes hard for people from a different place or a different generation to understand. So maybe the lesson is that despite that layer of separation, despite that wood, despite the fact that no 2 generations understand or engage with our tradition in exactly the same way, tocho kiboro, the ark's interior is like its exterior. The ark reminds us to be honest and authentic in expressing to the outside what's most valuable and important to us, that our external presentation should well reflect our own internal gold. It also reminds us to look charitably upon those whose forms of expression and engagement are different, maybe even shockingly different from what we are used to understand that they too are reflecting internal gold. Shabbat Shalom.